Could an NBA player play in the NFL and vice versa? First, we're going to tackle the NBA, then we'll get to the NFL, going to the NBA. So could an NBA player play in the NFL? I think yes. Now, it does matter how you define play in the NFL, because I could be signed to my Baltimore Ravens and play in the NFL. What does that mean? Am I going to be super useful? No. So it obviously depends on specifically what you mean by play. Do you mean be better than me? Do you mean be serviceable? Do you mean be an average starter? Do you mean being a pro? What exactly do you mean? I take the question as, could they be a serviceable player? Could they be better than you picking somebody up off the streets? Maybe like a D2 college football player. Good. Obviously, they're a tier below the NFL guys, but still good. You know, if we threw you out there, you're like, oh, that's better than nothing. You're useful. And I think Anthony Edwards, I think Russell Westbrook, I think these shorter NBA players, now they're obviously still tall guys, but I think the shorter NBA players that are muscular and athletic could definitely play a couple different positions on the football field. Now, my role for these guys, I'd say Anthony Edwards is probably my prime example. You know, a guy that's not too tall, because once you get to too tall, the agility gets a little problematic and the start and stopping does. He's 6'4", you know, he's going to be a tall player on the field, but he's not going to be so big to where it's problematic. And he's muscular as well. So from a BMI standpoint, he's not going to be getting broken in half like some of these skinnier guys like Kevin Durant. Now let's go with Anthony Edwards. I think that in a condensed role, obviously you can't throw him onto the NFL field and he's going to understand all the plays and all the schemes. If you put him at a box safety position and said, you are going to fit the run if it's a run play, it's not that complicated. This is your area. Take on a blocker or go get the ball. Or if it's a pass play, you are going to be in this zone. We just want you to be jumping at balls, getting your arms up. I think he could do that pretty well. Now, not as good as an NFL player. He's not going to be as good as Kyle Hamilton, obviously. He's not going to be as good as Patrick Surtain in the secondary, obviously. But it wouldn't be like putting me or you on the field. I mean, these guys are physical specimens. They would be okay. They would be okay. It wouldn't be like you've got no one to play and you're just like, we're going to pull a fan of the field. They would be okay. And they could probably make some plays on accident. And on offense, these guys, I mean, they're very athletic. Wide receiver, running back, a wildcat quarterback, maybe tight end for some of the taller guys like LeBron James. And look, football. The main thing in football is athleticism, size. You have to have a high BMI. You can't be a skinny guy. But if you have got some good size on you and some good athleticism, and obviously we're condensing the playbook, we're not expecting them to learn all the plays. Skill matters, but football is more geared towards athleticism. If you are a very athletic guy and you have a big frame, and we get you in kind of a small, easy-to-understand role, I think they could do all right in it. Especially if we give them a year to prepare. I mean, if you give Anthony Edwards or Russ Westbrook a year to prepare, I think they could probably be fine. Now, if we go the other way, if we go from NFL to NBA, I think they still could play, and I use could play kind of loosely because my definition of could play might be different from yours. But I think it would be more difficult because basketball is a very skill-driven sport. Obviously, you have the height requirement to some degree in basketball, but more so basketball, especially at the NBA level, is centered around shooting, especially the three ball. If you cannot shoot the three ball to at least like okay NBA standards, you're completely irrelevant. We cannot have you on the floor if you can't shoot an open three above 33%. I mean, if you're going to be open and you can't knock it down 1 out of every 3 times, you're just irrelevant. Unless you are such a menace on the boards, unless you're such a great defender. And most of the NFL guys don't have the length. I mean, the big guys are like a Myles Garrett who's 6'5", 6'6". Yeah, he's a physical specimen, and I wouldn't want to go in the paint against him. But we have other physical specimens who are longer, who have more, basketball pedigree. So even a guy like Myles Garrett, it's like he's going to be playing the 3 in the NBA, and he'd be athletic. I mean, he'd be like a more athletic LeBron, but with no skills. So I do think some of these guys obviously could play in the NBA, but I think some of the NBA guys would fare better than the best NFL guys. Because who's the NFL guy that you're like, yeah, that could be a great NBA player? All the smaller guys, all the guys under 6'3", they might be athletic, but if they can't shoot the 3 ball, there is no such thing as a 6'1" non-3-point shooter. I mean, that just isn't the thing. Like, you got to shoot the 3 ball, or you got to be an insane passer. And then vice versa, if we look at the bigger guys like the offensive linemen, it's like, yeah, they're big, and maybe they could get physical, be like a Draymond Green type, but it's just so skill dependent. I think the NBA would be tough. But yeah, I think there could be some, especially if you give them a couple years. I think if you give either athletes a couple years to get into shape and understand the playbooks, I think they could do it relatively easily.